Hi there again, Topaz Storytelling Club listeners. I'm your host, Caitlin, and thanks for joining in my coverage of Week 4 on our writing journey. Let's dive into what this meeting was about, shall we? Today, July 17th, brought us a total of 6 young writers coming in to sharpen their skills, and I'm glad to see that despite the decrease from last Wednesday, we're still going ahead with the steady attendance rates. Today's topic, like that of last week, is one of those good old literary devices that are a bit harder to explain due to their intangibility, but that's no problem for our TSC champs. What do I mean by this, you ask? What's our topic? Well, you'll see. Maybe you can guess what it is when I describe this week's story to you. The book I chose for today is The Memory String by Eve Bunting. It's one of my all-time favorites, and one of the ones I remember most distinctly out of the thousands of picture books I devoured as an early reader. The gist of it is that the main character, a girl named Laura whose mother recently died, keeps a string of buttons. It's been passed down and added to throughout the generations with buttons that came from clothes worn on significant occasions. When the buttons end up lost, she finds herself becoming closer to her new stepmother. It's a really sweet family story all around, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't tear up the first time reading it after so many years. Not only that, but this story is a great vehicle for today's writing skill, one of the most important tools a writer will ever learn: symbolism. Throughout history, symbolism has been used for many, many different forms of expression, from the artistic to the existential to even the political. But what is it? And more importantly for our purposes, how can it best be explained to beginners? It might seem hard at first to understand such an intangible concept, but the great part is it's very easy to make it tangible. Let me explain. Symbolism, in essence, is using something common, like an object, to represent an idea or concept in a way that goes beyond its literal meaning. The comparison is what allows us to really understand it and visualize the ideas being implemented within the story's context. The magic mirror in Snow White, for example, a story we all know, is a symbol of the evil queen's great vanity and helps to demonstrate her character, in addition to communicating the moral that pride can be one's downfall. By using a mirror, a physical object, as a stand-in for character traits, we can see how vanity has a real role in the story. In the case of today's story, The Memory String, the symbol is right there in the title. The string itself as a whole, and in particular all the buttons on it, represent important family moments. They were there on the clothes during special times, and now they are like little pieces of those memories that can be imagined by those who weren't really there. They have so much more worth than what they literally are as buttons. Otherwise, Laura wouldn't care nearly so much about them getting lost. Each one has a unique meaning attached that separates it from all the others. Although Laura hasn't experienced each button's memory herself, she can visualize it in her mind. So not only are the buttons symbols, but they perfectly explain, symbolically, what it is that a symbol does in a story. Something that represents something else. It's pretty much that simple. We see them everywhere, in tons of little things you may not even notice. Even something as simple as a traffic light is a very clear, non-literal form of communication of ideas. We know from an early age that red means stop and green means go, because of how deeply ingrained the symbolism is. Something you also probably see several times a day, the mascots of products are oftentimes ways to use advertising symbolically. If a company represented their laundry detergent with a Viking, it likely means that it's tough on stains, since Vikings are known to be ferocious. Ask your child if he can, using his newfound understanding of symbolism, name some other examples of symbols. Then, see if you can even find some within your own house. It can be like a symbol scavenger hunt. I'll bet you'd find more than you think. In assessing his understanding, you should also always ask relevant and thought-provoking questions like, why can ordinary things have so much meaning? What is the difference between literal and figurative meaning? Why would an author use symbols instead of just telling the reader directly? Is it more exciting to figure out the symbols yourself? It's also important to remember that, in a way, there isn't really a right or wrong to symbolism at the end of the day. Although some symbols, like the traffic light colors I mentioned, are pretty universally agreed upon, that's not always the case. In plenty of stories, even well-known classics, there are symbols that aren't clear, causing discussion and debate. The green light in The Great Gatsby, for example, could mean any number of things, from unrequited love to the American dream. But that's the nature of symbols, and part of the fun. You don't know for sure what they mean. The author himself might not even have intended a definitive answer, so you can speculate endlessly about different interpretations. The parallels might not always line up one-to-one. You can really use any symbol to mean anything if you put your mind to it. This can be perhaps frustrating if you're in an English class trying to analyze a difficult book, but it's also a really great thing because authors can be inventive and create nearly infinite different kinds of symbols. Like the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and so the same can be said of symbols. One reader's symbol of happiness may be another reader's symbol of loneliness. I could grab any old object off my table, like a pencil, and say that it symbolizes anger because it gets shorter and shorter when put under pressure, just like someone's temper. While some might consider this comparison extremely far-fetched, someone else might look at the pencil in a completely new light because of it. We're all different, and thus so is the way we all interpret symbols, and even what we consider to be symbols. I think I've been rambling on long enough about symbols for you to get my point. On a simple level, your child can understand basic symbols, like the ones our TSC group used in our activity today. I gave them a worksheet I made split into 8 boxes, each with its own vague term, like freedom or honesty. Our young writers drew in their own symbols for each. They ranged from widely accepted, like a bald eagle for freedom, to person-specific, like someone's mother for honesty. These guys understood the nuance of symbolism very quickly, so hats off to them. Check out my website for the full activity and all of the awesome symbols the kids came up with. Some of them were hilarious. If you were to try a similar activity at home with your child, try coming up with symbols for concepts like safety, love, or intelligence. Our writing period was just as productive as our activity. The word of the day was reminiscence, the act of remembering, and the writing prompt was to write a story where the main character himself was actually a symbol for something. No one took the bait on the prompt, but that's okay. If your child were to write such a story, ask him to tell you what the character would symbolize and to explain how this would be expressed in a way that makes sense. Our survey data looks good as always, and today has been overall a nice, relaxing experience here at TSC. I can't wait for you all to join us next week for more exciting writing. See you soon!